The Unabomber Ted Kaczynski has been found dead inside of his cell at the age of 81. Reportedly, he committed suicide. However, obviously, questions need to be raised about this because whenever somebody important dies of suicide, we have to think about that for a second. We have to really consider the possibilities. If you don't know who Ted Kaczynski is, he was the Unabomber, as I said before. He was a genius growing up, attended Harvard at the age of 16. He would eventually end up going and living out in the wilderness. He was extremely against the Industrial Revolution and managed to predict almost everything that would happen between his time and now. So, over about a 40-year span, he was able to predict pretty much everything technology would become. Like I said before, the guy was a genius. However, he also had a lot of social issues, he had a lot of mental issues, and he ended up to get his message out to warn people. The decision he made was to go out and create bombs. He would send them to people, cause, death and destruction. And eventually, after building a platform, becoming really well known as the Unabomber, he would release his own manifesto where he would reveal all of his thoughts on, the technological revolution, the industrial revolution. It obviously garnered a lot of support because of the actions he did. A lot of people are interested in what he had to say. And over the last 30 years, lots of people have started to cling on to his messages as if they've realized more and more things that he believed in were correct. I want to make it clear I don't support his actions or anything he did. I believe it was obviously evil. Like just he sent bombs to random people, resulting in many being killed and even more being injured. As you can see here, he had a decade-long spree where 3 people were killed and nearly 2 others were hurt by his 16 homemade bombs. Decades long. But yeah, not a good thing to do. He wasn't even going after really the people in power necessarily. All he wanted to do was create some kind of ruckus so his voice would be heard, because he understood that at that point in society, the only way to get your message out was to do something wild, to do something reckless, to go above and beyond. He knew that nobody would actually care to listen unless he forced them to, and that's essentially what he was doing. Um, he was a genius, but he was crazy, clearly. But now at the age of 81, he has been found dead of suicide, and this is something that, as I said before, needs to be looked into. Obviously, we had Epstein not too long ago, another quote unquote suicide, and these deaths are always a little puzzling. This is a guy who was in a maximum security prison as far as I am aware, or I guess it says he was moved in 2021 to a medical facility. But there's no way they just, let him go and weren't paying attention to him and he was able to go and kill himself. There's no reasonable reason to think that would have happened. This guy was one of America's most wanted and is probably America's most famous criminal. At least he's had the biggest impact. His message has actually been shared with people. But yeah, he predicted a lot of stuff. He was right about a lot of stuff. He exposed a lot of things, opened a lot of people's eyes. It's unfortunate he did what he did because he was clearly a genius. He was someone that, we have to respect his intelligence. However, we also have to understand what he did was wrong, and we need to preach that as well. But, you have to think for a second, was he right? Because his message wouldn't have ever gotten out if he didn't do the awful things that he did. So, even if they were wrong, he still came to the correct conclusion that that's what he had to do to get his voice heard, even if what he did was still bad, even if it was something that shouldn't have been done. I'm gonna do a deeper video into Ted Kaczynski pretty soon due to this recent event. He's an interesting guy, and I think that we should probably do a deep dive video. But I'm still pretty sick, so today we're just keeping it simple, keeping it light. But I'm gonna wrap up the video on that note. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, share the video. I really appreciate it. The only way we're gonna take back this country is together. So join the fight. But like I said, I'm heading out. So long, peace out, and God bless y'all.